ignore the state of my hair. I'm not even gonna try and fix it. Hey guys, it's Lucky. Welcome. This is my mid-year wrap-up video. I read 9 books this year so far, which I think is a win. My original goal was 2 this year. Well, the past 3 years has been only 2 to 3 books, so I think I did pretty good. I was not expecting to read so many trilogies and so many books part of a series, so I will go through them. If you see me look down, it's because I have my iPad there and my Goodreads with all the list of books that I've read. If you see me keep looking down, that's why. The first 2 books that I read, the recent ones that I've read, The Will of the Many. I read the second book to the saga, so I'm all caught up. Finished it, I think, last weekend. So it's still engraved in my mind. I did enjoy the second book a little bit more than the first one. I'll try not to spoil too much, but the second one has, this is only told in one perspective. The other one is told in 3. You'll know why it suddenly jumps from 1 to 3. I really love the concept of the will of the many, the will more specifically. Yes, I really like the setting. I really like the concept of will, the abilities that these characters can have. Very world-centered. I think the side characters of these books aren't explored enough. I think that's why I rated this first one a bit low, and some of my critiques on the second one was because of the side characters as well. And you'd think they'd explore the side characters a little bit more and get to know them more, and so that we can connect with them a bit better. With the way these books are, they're like 700 pages each. The second one expands the world more, that's why they're long. There's more questions than answers in these books so far. But yes, I really do love these. I think there was an older cover for these books, or the first one anyway. I really like this one more, and the second one as well. They're so eye-catching and very different, and I really do love the titles. It's very unique to the story. I think I'm gonna hold off spoilers for these, because there's a death that happens in the second one that I was pretty annoyed and frustrated by, and I did spend quite a few hours on my day, or days, on Reddit looking up theories. So I'm excited to continue with these. I know the third one's going to be even thicker. If you haven't read it, go read it. I think it's worth the read, but if you DNF it, it's not the end of the world. It's either your kind of thing or it's not, and I think a lot of people have enjoyed it so far, so I would recommend it as well. Alright, so the next 3 books was Red Rising by Piers Brown. This book has been on my TBR for the longest time. I think it's been over 10 years now, and it's just been sitting on my ebooks for such a long time, and a lot of books have. When I tried to start it all those years ago, I just struggled way too much to get into the first few chapters, but I had some encouragement from a friend of mine to read it. Also, I thought, let me just rip the band-aid off and start reading this thing. And let me tell you, what a journey reading the trilogy was. I think I read it pretty much back to back. I think I read the first one in 2 days, the second one in 2 days, and the third one I think maybe 3 days, because a lot of things happen in that one. This one also is very world-centered. There are some pretty cool and fun side characters. My favorite, Severo. I think everyone's favorite is Severo. The first book I didn't really expect to go down the Hunger Games route, so that was a surprise, and I think that's why I kind of rated it a little bit lower than the second one. The second one was very interesting. I think Darrow is pretty dramatic at times with that one scene, multiple scenes. Also, the way that Darrow escapes death so many times, it made me kind of annoyed sometimes. I thought he was going to bite the dust, but he's the main character, so I was like, yeah, probably not. It's always a close call with Darrow. It was a very roller coaster of a ride with Red Rising. I'm not going to talk too much about it because it will require spoiling, and there are a lot of character deaths. It's pretty gory at times, a very nose scruncher from the get-go. But yeah, Piers Brown does not hold back with anything with these books, and no character is safe from him. So I did stop with the third one. I'm thinking about continuing, but as of right now, I'm gonna stop because it is a very big world, and I think investing time in reading the new ones with the new perspectives, I've heard it requires a lot of brain. I feel like I would DNF the fourth one if I were to continue straight up. So I'm gonna give it some time. I did spoil myself with a sixth book. That was my fault. I shouldn't have searched up Red Rising on TikTok and Instagram. Don't do that. Don't do that. Even if you've read half of the series, do not search up series on TikTok because you will get spoiled, and you do not want that, especially with Red Rising. I will hold off with the rest of the books. Maybe after the seventh book comes out, the last one. But right now, I'm going to put a pause on that. Also, I recommend it if you've read The Will of the Many and vice versa. There are side characters in The Will of the Many and The Red Rising that I didn't really care so much for. So when they did, get killed off, I didn't really care for them that much. That's what some of these books are lacking, that kind of emotional connection, or we don't really spend enough time with those side characters to really feel enough for them, from my perspective anyway. And that's one of the main critiques that I had for these two series so far. But yes, Morningstar is definitely my favorite out of the three. The end of Golden Sun was a shocker. I definitely got a heads up for that on the internet. I'm glad I didn't get spoiled because it was pretty shocking. All right, moving on to the book that I read before Red Rising, Release Me, the second book to the second series of the Shadow Me series, the spin-off. I have a whole separate video for this specific book, so go check it out if you've already read it and want to freak out with me. Did enjoy this one a lot more than the first one. A lot of cute moments, a lot of intense moments. Yes, I won't go into too much detail because I've already spoken enough about it, I think. And the third book of this spin-off is coming out in September. So I'm very excited, and I will definitely be making a video for that one as well. So the last three books that I read this year so far: Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This was actually a gift to me by a friend of mine on my birthday. And it was the first book that I actually read this year, surprisingly. Like, I had no idea what this book was about. I had no idea what to expect with these books. This is my first Brandon Sanderson book. I liked it. It was very world-centered as well. I think Vin and Ellen were definitely the two characters that got me through the trilogy. I don't think I would have continued if Vin and Ellen weren't a central part of the books, because they do drive it. The abilities in the power system is trickier and took me quite a while to wrap my head around, but once you get it and you're in for a ride. It does get a little bit political and focuses a lot on the war, but Brandon Sanderson does do a good job in keeping the reader interested. A little bit slow sometimes, especially I think it was the third one, the first third of the third one. Nothing necessarily happens too much, but the end on the third one, very, very interesting. I didn't really like how it ended, and not just because of certain characters' deaths. There are a lot of deaths in this. I did rate it a little bit lower than the first two, but again, if you like the Red Rising series and The Will of Many, you'll like Mistborn, because they all have pretty similar tropes. If you like a little bit of romance in your fantasy, this is the one for you. Red Rising does have a bit of romance in it, but it's majorly well, and also The Will of Many does a tiny bit, but it's not that great with The Will of the Many. So those were the 9 books that I read this year so far. I did forget to mention it is May, so I do have at least a month to add to this list, but I'm going to take a break from reading right now and watch a few things. I am currently reading another trilogy, the Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis. I'm on the first book. I've been on the first book for a while, actually. I'm halfway though. I'm a little bit after halfway, and it's been really interesting so far. So hopefully I'll be able to finish that by the end of the year. Another two books that I'm currently reading. One is another C.S. Lewis book, and it's Me Christianity. This one I've started a while. Okay, I don't know when I started this, but it's not like a regular book that you just read. You can read it whenever and wherever you want to start. But yes, I want to finish this one. It's been really good so far. a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to highlight. But yes, I'm looking forward to finishing this one. Another one is The Housekeeper and the Professor. I think it was a Japanese classic. I also started this, and this is a really nice cover. It's a very beautiful cover. I'm just been introduced to the characters, so hopefully I can finish this by the end of the year as well. Another book, the third book to the spin-off. Definitely be making a video for that. There are a couple of books on my want to read, my TBR, on top of my TBR, but I don't think I'm going to get around to reading it, but who knows. If you've read any of these books, and I'm sure you have, I have been a bit behind with The Red Rising of Mistborn especially. Let me know your theories for The Will of the Many. I'll definitely be reading those because Strength of the Few has been in my head for a few days now, and I can't stop thinking about it. And what you're reading next and what you're reading currently, as well as some recommendations. So I've read these, I like them. Let me know what other books that I should read. I do like how Red Rising and The Will of the Many are told in first person. I do prefer first person POV in fantasy. I know it's very rare to have that. So if there's any ones similar, please let me know. I definitely will be adding them to my TBR. That is it for this video. I will hopefully see you in my next video.